Hey everyone, QuantumScape updated investors with another quarterly progress report that had some really big information for QuantumScape stock investors. I'll review those latest updates and I will update my recommendation for QuantumScape stock. Coming into the quarter, I did not have the stock rated as a buy, so you're going to want to tune in to see if I'm changing that recommendation or keeping it where it is. So let's take a look at the latest update.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
All right, so QuantumScape telling shareholders that they announced on March 27th that they started shipments of their 6-layer Alpha 2 prototype battery cells to automotive customers, which is the first of their key goals for 2024. QuantumScape aims to develop solid-state battery technology that could vastly improve the EV industry. Remember, I've been saying for over 2 years now, the main inhibitor of electric vehicles is that inconvenience of charging. It takes so much longer, I should say, to charge your electric vehicle compared to filling up gas in your internal combustion engine vehicle. That huge inconvenience is the major sticking point between people actually adopting electric vehicles, and that's why I think that the rate of growth of electric vehicles has slowed considerably. The Alpha 2 design is intended to serve as an effective demonstration platform for customers to preview the important electrical performance capabilities of their planned QSE5. The QSE5 is what they're calling their commercial product. So they're not ready to sell this technology yet. When they are ready to sell it, that's what they're going to name it, QSE5. That's the final product that they're going to ship to customers and sell. The Alpha 2 is a prototype that they've sent out to their partners to test and iterate and give them feedback and say what's working, what's not working, what do we need to improve to make this product ready for commercial sales. So they say customer feedback is the most critical input in the product development cycle as it provides insight into areas that need improvement and strengthens collaboration. That's going to be key because these batteries are ultimately going to go inside electric vehicles. And so it needs to work with those original equipment manufacturers, those that are going to be using this battery, because that's who they're going to sell it to. They're not going to sell it to customers directly, consumers directly. They're going to sell it to businesses like Volkswagen, like Ford, GM, maybe Stellantis, Tesla, those companies that are developing electric vehicles. Those are going to be their customers. So that's who they need to work with now. Get feedback on what they've done so far, what they need to improve so that they can get a product ready to fit inside those vehicles and sign deals and get those partnerships going, because that's who they need to work with. So they also provided investors with a nice roadmap for their commercialization or when they plan to get sales. So 2024, they've already shipped the Alpha 2 samples. They're going to begin low volume QSE prototype production. They're going to ramp up their production process. They call it the Raptor process. And they're going to prepare for their Cobra production in 2025. The Cobra production is what they're going to utilize to make the QSE5. The Raptor process is what they're using now to make these prototypes and low volume QSE production prototypes. Now, as it is now, they aim to do all the manufacturing, but that might not be the case later on. They might partner with other companies to do the manufacturing for them, and QuantumScape can license their technology. They're signaling to investors that they're open to different types of business models in terms of sales once it's ready, once they've proven the technology. So 2025 is when they plan higher volume QSE prototype production and deploy and ramp the Cobra process. So doesn't look like sales will begin in 2025. Looks like 2025 will be another year of testing, prototyping, iterating, learning, getting feedback, and then maybe in 2026 they can start to discuss sales and ramping up revenue. So one of the key things with their technology is in addition to improved energy density, a key performance feature of their cell is high discharge power capability, which means you can accelerate the vehicle faster. So electric vehicles are, known to be slower than internal combustion engine. You're not seeing very many sports themed electric vehicles, but this could make it where they can rival the performance of internal combustion engine in terms of power. And then for context, conventional lithium ion cells can be optimized for either high power or high energy, but not both. QuantumScape's technology can optimize for both. And here's the biggest thing, in my opinion. This is the name of the game here: fast charging. The Alpha 2 prototypes have demonstrated the capability to fast charge from 10% to 80% in less than 15 minutes, which is in line of their goal for 5 to 15 minutes. You could see here the difference between the top selling long range EV, and you could see QuantumScape's charge capability. It's up here. So in 13 minutes and 36 seconds, QuantumScape can charge up to 80%, from 10% to 80% in 13 minutes and 36 seconds. Whereas the same level of charging for existing technology is around 30 minutes. You could see that there on the timeline. So it's going from 10 to 80 in 13 minutes, where right now you go from 10 to 80 in 30 minutes. So a 2/3 improvement in charging time. That's the name of the game. If they can deliver this technology to the market, that's going to be a huge boost to demand for these electric vehicles. That's going to be the biggest boost in demand for electric vehicles other than anything else, in my opinion. This is where companies should focus on, is getting this charging technology, because this is what's going to make the difference. More so than lowering the price of an electric vehicle by a couple of $1,000s, or giving people some tax incentive, a couple of $1,000s. All of that, I don't think, matches the benefits of having the charging time be closer to that of when you're filling up gas. That's the biggest constraint. If they can get that, I think the transition to EVs will grow exponentially. That's the biggest roadblock that will unlock a lot of consumer demand for electric vehicles. And then low temperature performance has also been an issue. Many people are reporting that in colder temperatures, they're not getting the sufficient charge. The vehicle is not getting the range that was advertised. So conventional EV battery performance can be significantly impaired when temperatures drop below freezing. That shortens the distance. For QuantumScape, their technology shortens the distance lithium has to travel, thereby increasing performance even at low temperatures. And you can see their tests have demonstrated that their performance is much better than what's available right now in the market. You can see that. So in all three of these critical components, in these critical decision-making criteria for customers, QuantumScape's battery technology is testing so far much better than what exists in the market, exponentially better than what exists in the market, enough so that it would entice manufacturers to adopt their technology, because manufacturers could then sell this technology to customers. It'll help their sales by an order of magnitude. So original equipment manufacturers would be willing to pay QuantumScape for this technology because it'll help them drive consumer demand by so much more than what they'd be paying QuantumScape. All right, so given that their sales are non-existent just yet, it's important to keep an eye on their financials, and they gave an outlook here. They maintained their 2024 guidance for CapEx of 70 to 120 million, with adjusted EBITDA loss between 250 and 300 million. That's good news that they're on track like they planned, and they still have $1 billion in cash in liquidity, and they say that's enough to get them to the second half of 2026, which is good. They should be ready or approaching to be ready to make sales at that point. And then longer term, their capital requirements will be a function of their business model, which we believe could reflect a mix of wholly owned production, joint venture, and licensing relationships. So again, they're saying they're open, they're flexible on how to move forward in terms of making sales. And depending on what business model they choose will depend on how much more money they will need. The licensing relationship, of course, is the one that will require the least amount of capital. And then the wholly owned production is the one that will require the most capital, which will also be the riskiest, and it'll also provide the most upside. So depending on where they see things, QuantumScape can decide which direction they want to go. Now, to update my recommendation for QuantumScape stock, I'm keeping it rated as a hold and market perform. It's still too early for me to recommend the stock as a buy. You saw they're not even looking at sales just yet, at least 1 year away. Sure, they're making progress, but it's hard to quantify how much that's worth. They have a market cap of roughly $2 billion with $1 billion in liquidity. So you're paying pretty much a value of $1 billion for QuantumScape. Is it worth that much? Are they going to generate that much revenue and profitability to make this worthwhile? Are competitors going to come up with their own technology? Are some original equipment manufacturers going to develop their own technology ahead of when QuantumScape develops their own? There's a lot of questions to be asked and a lot of risk associated with QuantumScape. I think the risk is too much compared to the upside at this moment for me. Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time and a lot of other videos you could be watching. So I truly appreciate that you chose to watch this one. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe or the like button. They'll both help me make more videos just like this one. Thank you again.